Again, not a lot of signatures from the rotation aspect of this, but definitely a lot of hail signatures coming through with this. Gary, you got any points that you want to throw out at there that you're seeing on the radar?
Well, what concerns me in particular is right here is Interstate 81. So, I mean, the core of this system right now is right over top of Interstate 81, and this is a fairly heavily traveled as you're coming out of Wytheville heading south towards Smith County, and it's also approaching the split with I-77. So, you know, this can be a pretty heavily traveled area here. It's 6:36, so we're outside of the extreme evening travel time, so hopefully that's good news and we don't have a lot of folks on the road right now, but this is definitely looking like a pretty, it's got some bite to it.
Yeah.
This
we do have a live cam. Where is that live cam from, Bryson? Okay, there we go. Let's check that out and see what's going on with that. This is I-81. And so you can see the gray skies off in the distance. This is looking which direction? It appears to be looking west, I would believe. It's northbound I-77 as it goes into the split. Okay, so you can see the angry sky that is off in the distance. So that is something that at least the traffic is moving, but this is an area that has not actually been impacted just yet. So that is something that we need to be a bit concerned about. So let's go back into and check out our tracker that we are trying to get a better handle on. We have Fort Chiswell at about 6:50. Foster Falls at 7 o'clock, and Pulaski. 7:08 is when we do expect this massive wall of energy to move into the Pulaski area. Now, this is an extremely wide batch of rain. This rain is also indicating to us that we will lose visibility as we're trying to find possibly some funnel cloud that would drop out of the base of this complex, or even the hail that we'll see will run into the hailstorm as well if you're on 81 heading from 77 on towards the, technically it's south, but we are looking pretty impressive with this as well. Gary, go ahead.
Well, we have another traffic camera that we are going to go ahead and pull up here. This is Interstate 77, also in Wythe County. If we can, there it is right there. So we do have some rain in that area, and the rainfall is going to be heavy at times. So be sure that you are slowing down and you are leaving plenty of room between you and the vehicle ahead of you. Thankfully, we do not have a lot of heavy traffic there, which is definitely a good thing. But still, you know, with the fact that we have an active tornado warning here, not an observed tornado, but still a tornado warning nonetheless, this is a storm that we need to be taking very seriously.
Yeah, and the importance of this is that it is a warned storm, and it has been one of those storms that we've been kind of keeping a very watchful eye on as well. We are also keeping an eye on other storms in the area. In fact, we do have some storms up through to the north. Now, you can see that as we have this bright magenta color, this pink color, and then the black in the middle indicates the opportunity for some extremely large hail. We're talking hail, what, about 2 inches in diameter. But that's indicated by the radar. It's not necessarily making it down to the ground, but you can see that this black dot here has the 2-inch hail indicator on it, about 1.5 inches in the lighter colored purple, and then about 1 inch in that darker purple as well. So it is at least a storm that is going to be giving us a problem as far as hail is concerned. Let's see if we can't get anything on our correlation coefficient, or this is a debris detector. And what it does, as I mentioned, is checks things that get thrown out into the sky. Doesn't really look like much is going on with this anymore. What about our rotation? Is there anything that's indicating to us that we could see some kind of a rotation? There's an interesting signature down to the south. This is our rotation detector that will give us the fact there could be some spinning going on just south of the 77 and 81 split right there. It's also some weak rotation up into the north and east of the town of Wytheville and up towards the Birch Garden region as well, which is up through well up to the north and west as well. But these are indicators that there is some spin, but there really isn't a lot jumping out as far as a massive rotating storm would indicate to us. We are looking at a lot of trouble in this with the hail, I do believe, and the heavy rain and the gusty winds. These winds are more than likely going at about 65 miles an hour, and the tracking of this is extremely important. Why? Because it's a tornado warning. So what do we want to do with this? Well, we want to make sure that you are prepared to deal with the situations that are coming your way. Those situations are very gusty winds and, of course, a tornado that may be associated with this. So get to the center portion of your house. Get to the basement if you have a basement. Stay away from windows. Get a helmet, cover yourself with a mattress or a very thick quilt or blanket to stay away from debris that may be coming in through your home, and wear thick-soled shoes in case there is debris spewing about after this event is finished, and we can see the possibility of debris on the ground. And if you have hard-soled shoes, well, then you'll be a lot safer than walking around in sneakers, because that could get a nail through the foot. So be careful about that. Again, the indication of the rotation is not really what's jumping out at us, is it, Gary?
No, it really isn't. But again, this is following the I-77-81 area right there. So, I mean, this is just following the interstate. So, again, travel just not recommended right now.
Right. And so are they getting any updates on this? Oftentimes when they issue the tornado warnings, they'll give you a follow-up update with this. And what they'll indicate is that there is nothing coming in about this, so we're going to maintain it. But the winds themselves are really not showing us that there is an actual tornado with this. We are continuing to respect the fact that there is a tornado warning in there, and that's what we do. There is a tornado warned box for storms that could produce a tornado, and although sometimes we don't see what's going on our radar indicators, it is spinning nonetheless, so we have to be mindful of that. It is our policy to stay on the air when there is a tornado-warned storm in our viewing area, and this is what we are doing. We can see here now we have the two boxes. One of our boxes here indicates that you could barely see about a quarter mile of visibility in the Wytheville area, as that is the 7781 interchange, I do believe. Is that correct? Okay, so that is what we're looking at, reduced visibility and some major problems going on with that. Kathleen, is there anything that you're getting from reports anywhere?
Yeah. I actually got a couple reports out of Marion.
Okay,
that's
cool.
in Smith County. I have some family members checking on that Walmart that you heard about to confirm whether or not that is actually the situation. Down in the Marion area in Smith County, they're reporting the hail and some really good thunderstorms. So that's what they're dealing with right now, trying to get an update from some loved ones who are making sure that they're staying safe right now. Other than reports out of Smith County, though, we have not received any other reports out of the viewing area. John, I know that you said earlier that the cameras in the Radford area, which are currently down right now, were really bad.
Right. We were trying to pull up the Radford cams earlier, and we had no success in that as they had been inhibited by the storm, I believe. So, yeah, that's something that is a bit of a problem when we have these storms moving through. And, again, you can see that this is a fairly wide expanse of the purple color. Now, the purple color indicates to us that this is extremely heavy rain or the opportunity for hail. So those are the two things that we're keeping a very watchful eye out for. Now, the tornado warning has started to get a little bit lopped off. You see the back end of it right there. See, it was extended a little bit further to the south. Now it's kind of getting chopped off as the storm is marching its way up towards the Pulaski area. Now, what that indicates to me is that they are still seeing rotation at the National Weather Service. Otherwise, they would have canceled this. So we have to be mindful of that. While the fact that they're taking pieces of it off at the back end means that they're still concerned about what's going on in the front end of this. And again, if you're in Fort Chiswell, it is right on top of you. It's about a minute or two away from coming at you. Even if it isn't a tornado, straight line winds going at 60, 65 miles an hour can do some significant damage as they will push everything over in a straight line and knock down power lines and also knock down trees and do some significant damage to your home. The hail that's associated with this as well is a very dangerous scenario. It can rip siding off of your house. It can definitely do some problematic damage to your car. And if you are in the path of this storm heading up to Pulaski, if you have an apron that you can stick your car on and get it underneath some kind of a covering. Get it into the garage would be the best thing. But you need to prepare for some very, very significant hail that's going on here. Now, our hail size, you can see there, is about 1 inch in diameter, but we also have, a thing called the Barron Tornado Index. That's this little number here, 4. That means that there is a fairly decent chance that there is rotation with this. So we are still concerned about this. In Boom Furnace at about 7:09, this is when the whole center of this storm will be approaching your area. Again, there's Pulaski, and that's at 7:10. So you have some time to get prepared with your plan. Get that plan in place, and you definitely want to make sure that you are taking cover as this comes through. It doesn't have to be a tornado to cause significant damage. It can be straight line winds, and it can be hail. Hail the size of a golf ball or a ping pong ball will do some significant damage for you. Gary, what do you got over there? Anything coming over?
Nothing really new. The National Weather Service, they are saying that they're watching 2 tornadic storms, one in North Carolina, but then this one also, which is getting ready to cross into Pulaski County, likely in the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. They're saying it's garnered a lot of pea-size hail reports. So there is definitely hail that is falling. It's not necessarily reaching severe criteria by the time it actually reaches the ground. When we're looking at some of these, like this Barron button here, which indicates that we're seeing the potential for maybe about, well, with this last scan, maybe about a ½ inch diameter hail, which maybe indicates the storm may be weakening just a little bit. But that rate is likely falling at elevation, at higher elevation by the surface of the cloud. So by the time it gets down toward the surface, it is melting and reducing in size. So pea-size hail definitely likely with this storm as it continues moving off to the just north of due east at 35 miles per hour.
All right, and so what we also want to do is, if you could take weather 2 for a second, we are looking at the tornado safety plan for you, and we want to put this up for you. As you do see that, Kathleen, you could take us through this, right?
Yeah, I can take you through this weather safety, or this tornado safety plan, I should say. First of all, you want to get in a basement or a tornado shelter. You want to cover yourself with a mattress, a sleeping bag, or pillows. You also want to grab a helmet and shoes. This is one of those scenarios where you do not want to try to just assume that you're going to be okay. You need to immediately get in a place where you are okay. Now, if you don't have a basement, you need to go to the lower floor. The lowest floor you have, an interior closet, you can go under some stairs, you can go to a room that doesn't have any windows, or you can go in a bathtub. Now, if you want to get in the bathtub, you can also put a mattress on top of you while you're inside that bathtub. That's something that'll also help you in that type of a scenario. You want to crouch low and you want to cover your head. Again, we cannot reiterate this anymore. It is so important to note that you do not want to take chances in this type of severe weather. Know your safe place. There are multiple ways you can receive warnings, so make sure you have those. You can get alerts straight to your cell phone. You can get alerts on your television. You can also get alerts on your radio if you have one. You also want to make sure that you have your protective gear ready. So when would have been a good time for this? Ahead of this severe weather that we have currently. So always make sure that you have your protective gear ready for you. Make sure your phone is fully charged. That's in case you lose power. So then you can have that. So that way you have those alerts. Your phone is not dead. You can get whatever alert you need to help you stay safe. Always prepare for possible power outages. Have dry goods that do not need to be refrigerated.
All right, and again, sound advice, obviously, and it is something that we've been stressing a lot, and make sure that you download the WFXR News app as well to stay safe and informed. All right, let's take a look at the radar, back to Weather 1, and you can see that we are continuing to watch this significant, massive line of very heavy rain moving to the end of this tornado-warned area, and what we're dealing with is a very significant amount of, I would go with the heavy rain aspect and the hail in through here. Now, the warning expires in about 10 minutes, and you can see the end line here. And we haven't been able to completely identify where the rotating portion of this cell is. As we do take a look, where there are indicators it could be in through the Clark Summit area. There's also some other signatures that are coming out ahead of this that would give us an idea. But oftentimes when we see this, we have a definitive spin, and this is about where I'm concerned. There could be some general rotation in through just to the north of Fort Chiswell as it is moving through to the north and east. So that is right where we are. So if we could track this for you and show you the movement of it. Now this is obviously out ahead of the actual line itself. So more than likely that is not where the tornadic spin is. But what we're seeing is probably some major damage done by either straight line winds or significant amount of hail that is coming through with this. So it is approaching the end of the box, but as it is, you kind of start to see a little bit of broad rotation in through our area as it does approach the Pulaski County line, and that is something that you can kind of see right in through this region as it is getting a bit of the what we refer to as broad rotation. It's really something that will be occurring in there and underneath all of that. And now we can kind of see, now oftentimes this is actually not part of the radar. This is that red box underneath. But we are also seeing the possibility that this could be where the actual rotating portion of the storm is. And that's something that we're going to be continuing to watch as it does approach the county line, heading up into Pulaski. So if you're in the Pulaski area, that is the place to really start to get squared away. Do what Kathleen was saying. Make sure that you do have your plan in place. If you are in Weldon, 7:01 is when it's expected there. Allison, way down here, it seems like it's not in the general path, but oftentimes these storms kind of fan out ahead of it, and the winds come well out ahead of this. And again, this is one of those things where the tornado warning may not be well defined for us because it is so wrapped in rain and so aggressively moving through with the possibility of hail that we do have a hard time defining exactly where it is. But what we can tell you is to get safe and get prepared for not only the gusty winds, but also that hail and heavy rain that's going to come through. We also have you had some information on Marion or something else?
We're getting some information, a closer look at Interstate 81 near Fort Chiswell, which you've been talking about. Really some heavy rain right now. If we can get that camera up to show everyone, yeah, you can see the rain is just pouring the rain. So obviously cars are moving smoothly. Thankfully, there aren't a ton of cars on the interstate right now, but this is Interstate 81 near Fort Chiswell in Wythe County right now.
Okay. Gary, what is the Weather Service saying about this tornado warning? Are they going to allow it to expire in a couple minutes? Or?
They have actually not mentioned anything about the warning here. They did issue another tornado warning into North Carolina, but as far as this particular tornado warning here in Wythe County, there has been no chatter. But the fact that this is set to expire here in about 7 minutes, we probably are going to get some sort of a statement here momentarily from the National Weather Service.
They're either going to extend it or they're going to cancel it,
exactly,
one or the other.
Yeah.
What else is going up basically downstream from this, up in through portions of the Highlands and even up through the Lewisburg area? It looks like some aggressive storms are bowing out there. Can we go back to the radar? There we go. There you can see this batch of heavy rain that is moving into, this is 220 right through here, and no, this is 311, I'm sorry, right through here. And this is what we are going to be dealing with as far as some pretty strong storms that are moving on through the area, in addition to what we have down in Wythe County. So be prepared for some very heavy rain to come through in the Covington region, back down in through Parisburg, as well as in through Craig County. In by Johns Creek, you're going to get hit pretty hard there. And it does look like we are going to be seeing more and more of this stormier weather continue to develop and move on through. Gary, what do they got?
They have announced that they are going to be expiring the tornado warning here in eastern Wytheville, or Wythe County rather, at the top of the hour. Okay,
so that is good news. In other words, what this was an indication of rotation inside of this storm. That doesn't appear to have had anything drop out of it, but yet we haven't gotten any reports yet either from this. The only unofficial major report that we have is from Marion County, where there was a report. What was it? Marion? Nothing? You can't find anything yet?
So right now there are no confirmed reports.
Nothing confirmed, no.
No,
nothing.
not on the Walmart situation. Really, the only confirmed storm damage we're hearing about right now is from the storms earlier in Greenbrier County.
Right.
So there's some down trees into what looks like into homes and stuff like that.
Right.
But so far right now in Marion, the reports have not been confirmed.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes that happens. You get stuff on social media. You're not really sure if it's actually happening or not. But we are going to be noticing that here's the tornado warning. Here's the core of the large complex that's moving on through. And they are going to allow this to expire in a few more minutes. So it does appear that that we're not saying the all clear because the all clear hasn't come yet, but it does appear that this is not going to be extended into Pulaski County, which is excellent news for folks in Pulaski County. And we are going to be getting more than likely some reports coming in about flooding and localized damage from this massive storm that moved through the county as well. Now, oftentimes we'll get those well past the actual, on-time report, so we have to be mindful of that. But if you are in Pulaski, we have the time for you as of 7:03, so in about 7 minutes, this is when this wall of heavy rain is going to come your way. We are going to see the opportunity for the hail to continue and the wind and the rain to continue, so these are the types of things that people say, oh, well, it's not a tornado. Well, it is still very damaging and very dangerous and very deadly. So be advised that as we get closer and closer to the Pulaski area, I know that there's a lot of areas in Pulaski that flood very, very quickly in that region. Pulaski floods very, very fast in some locations. So be advised that you're probably going to be dealing with some localized flooding. Rainfall amounts have been very impressive, about an inch, almost an inch and a quarter in through and around portions of Marion County, Smith County, and in through Wythe County, as well as in through portions of the Bland County region. So a lot of these areas are also very mountainous, so the rain will be channeling and tunneling channeling and moving into lower elevated locations. So that is also going to present a pretty significant problem for us as well. So again, we are here to watch the expiration of this tornado warning, as we do have a tornado watch that is in effect pretty much for most of our area, and that is going to be something we have to continue to watch. This is until 8 o'clock, and then the rest of the region is until 10 o'clock. So Bryson, what was that? Okay, we have a camera from Draper in along 81, I-81. So let's take a look at that and show you that you can barely see what's going on there. That is some significantly heavy rain. Obviously, it's not a still camera. This is going to move, but we did catch a still image of that. And this is what we're experiencing. Anything kind of further up that we want to look at is going to be impacting us. There we go. You could see behind me there is a significant amount of rain coming through, down in through portions of North Carolina. There are severe thunderstorm warnings being issued for those counties just to the south of the Grayson County area, and all these storms down in through portions of North Carolina and Tennessee are going to be migrating to the east. And then there's also some strong storms down in through and around portions of the rural Hall area and moving up into, say, the Martinsville region. So these indicators here, this rotating signature here, that indicates to us that there is rotation there as well. There are tornado warnings for these counties in North Carolina, and what I'm concerned about is the movement towards the Martinsville area. This is nowhere near finished tonight. There are a lot of storms that are going to be popping up over the next several hours. We're not going to be in the all clear probably for at least a few more hours moving forward. So we have to be mindful of that, and we have to be aware that although some of these warnings will be allowed to expire, others will be firing up. So the concern now is right where we expected it to be in the Piedmont, and that is where it's still going to be aggressive moving forward through the night tonight. So again, we're getting this tornado warning allowed to expire, and we're going to have crews all over this as we go forward through the evening and into the night, and we'll continue to update you on this as we get into WFXR News first at 10. Kathleen?
John, now 5,000 people are without power right now due to these storms. Of course, as John just mentioned, we will continue to cover this storm very closely, keep you updated on air.